Alright guys, so welcome back. We got another one tonight. This one is one of Harrison's debut video ideas. Oh!
Whoa.
Yeah,
So don't expect much.
No, actually, Harrison's a pro. He's been researching the net, hacking.
Interweb.
Yeah,
those are words.
Yeah.
World Wide Web.
What's your handle?
I can't say.
Oh, you can't
Industry
say.
Insider
It's her
Bro.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, keep it down.
Sorry. Low.
Don't tell anybody.
I think there's a square car outside.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yes.
So what I wanted to talk about was Metroid Prime 4. And there's been all this news coming out recently about how Bandai Namco is a part of it. And apparently someone from their Singapore Bandai Namco office was like, hey, I'm working on a first-person shooter Nintendo exclusive game, and what other first-person shooter Nintendo game really is there? I know
Star Fox Adventures 2.
Yeah?
No.
Oh. But yeah, it just was like, he put this thing out and everybody kind of took it as this is what he's like, they're working on. But different things have come out, and it's apparently now being worked on by Bandai Namco Japan instead of Singapore, but there's people at Singapore that still could be working on a Metroid game, whether or not it's a Prime Trilogy port or
Remaster.
Or, you know, a lot of AAA titles have multiple teams.
Yeah.
But I've been reading about this too, and how like there have been a lot of credible online periodicals such reporting this. So
because it's
they must be talking to somebody in the company or somebody who's very close to the company. So
there was a Eurogamer article, and I think that they talk about sources and just main thing is that like I'm excited to play a new Metroid game, and I know you weren't too happy with Team Ninja.
Well, Metroid Other M I think is widely regarded as a huge disappointment.
I actually never played it because of how universally panned it.
Yeah. It was honestly kind of a breaking point. They tried to like put a story into it, and like the voice, like they had big cutscenes, and like I just feel like it just was totally offbeat, off tone for Metroid.
Off tone, absolutely. Metroid is not really. It's sort of like Zelda in that way. Is that it's more defined. The series is more defined by its gameplay.
There's barely any narrative. You have your intro sequence, maybe,
and so much,
and then you have like an ending.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty much Metroid's story. So, like,
totally missed the mark.
Yeah. So, but I love Metroid. I think we all do, and I mean, I've played most of them. I haven't played all of them, but like really, my heyday for Metroid was when Super Metroid came out for SNES, because that was like, I mean, one of the earlier games I played in my life, and my brother and I would kill that game. We played it all the time, and I've probably beaten that game like 4 or 5 times, and that one was definitely the Metroid impression. I remember the first one too.
I played the first one.
Yeah.
And I played Super Metroid, but I think I had to keep renting it from Blockbuster. And wow, that's not a game you want to
oh my god!
You
remember?
Slots,
can I just want to say, like, because I don't think anyone really that got in the game in the last 5 years will ever understand, like, the Russian roulette game of renting a like multi-hour game from
where they have 3 save slots.
They have 3 save slots.
Yeah.
You get so far, you have to take the game back the next day. You try to rent it again, and your shit got overwritten with a level 1 whatever.
Yeah.
Did you ever get any of them back? And like the person had deleted like every single they deleted all the saves.
Yeah, I've had that.
Like, some people just want to watch the world burn, man.
And I remember going once, and I was returning it, but I wanted to rent it again. This was I want to say it was A Link to the Past, and I remember right then and there, they're like, ooh, somebody's on the waiting list for it. Sorry. And I was like, no, I've like gone to the dark world and like all that stuff. Yeah.
It's also, that's a whole, like, we could talk about Blockbuster and how like weird that dynamic was.
That's a whole other video.
Because you could rent the whole systems and everything.
Oh yeah, and the big like
give him the
big gun case.
Yeah,
it was like his phone
it was like
nuclear weapon.
But yeah,
back in my day.
but it's funny now, and now you can get stuff immediately, and you're complaining when your download speed's a little slow.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, it's funny too, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it's like that was a very brief moment in gaming history where it's like NES was battery-backed cartridges. You kind of rented games at that point, but not really. SNES, it was more popular in the 16-bit era. And then up to the point where they had memory cards, like that, like sort of 5 to 8 year span, like the battery-backed save on game cartridges was, again, Russian roulette.
Yeah.
There was no way to do it.
Especially if you were renting the games. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah,
Good luck renting Final Fantasy 3.
Yeah,
trying
like,
to get deep into
Impossible. Well, so
Racist.
like, sorry. Anyway, so Super Metroid was like a hallmark for sure. And then like they had I played Metroid 1 for NES. Then they had the second one for Game Boy, and then Metroid 3 was Super Metroid. And then they had the 2 for Game Boy Color Advance. Which
it was Game Boy Advance. They had Metroid Fusion, which I think came out first, and then they had, or they came out pretty close together. But the second one was Metroid, I think Zero Mission, which is a remake of the first game for the NES. I didn't play Zero Mission. I played Fusion. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of like in the Game Boy Advance span or lifespan, like there was a lot of like Metroidvania games that were very popular. Like there's a ton of Castlevania games that had sort of aped that concept to varying degrees of success.
Man, think about how that was like a mainstream genre back then.
I love that genre.
How different.
Just like
and it's how different it is now.
that genre.
And
How different it is now. I
Metroidvania,
love it
like
too,
how
yeah.
often people compare everything to, well, it's like a Metroidvania game.
Yeah.
It's like, everything harks back to that.
Well, it's become like a proto-template for... Like, one of my favorite Metroidvania games that isn't really a Metroidvania game is Dark Souls.
Yeah.
That game, when you dig into it, is a perfect example.
That's like as 3D as that gets, Yeah,
it has like the sort of same, like, Symphony of the Night had this big vertical sort of scale to the game, and Dark Souls just dialed that up to 11, where like, that game had a palpable sense of like descending and ascending.
It was crazy for sure.
It just
cliff sides constantly.
Some of the most remarkable level design in
sure.
any game I've ever played.
That game was a phenomenon. And then Prime came out, made by Remedy, right? Retro Games.
Studios out of Austin, Texas? Somewhere in Texas.
And, and it was kind of a new frontier for Metro because it went first person. And, this is, I guess, when I feel like the Half-Life 2, Half-Life Revolution.
There was a lot of...
it was going first person back then.
There was a lot of blowback on that decision before the game released.
I was highly skeptical.
I was too.
I remember being like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And to hear that like Nintendo wasn't making it in-house was just like a complete blow to my like Metroid fanhood. And then, which is still going. Love you, Metroid. And then for Retro to come out with this, like I was actually like surprised. It kind of reminded me of Resident Evil 4. It was that sense of like, man, you're kind of ditching like the formula and the tone a little bit, but this is a really good game. So that's like how I felt about it.
They brought a lot of good ideas, and I think that in like trying to see the world as Samus, that was like a cool thing because it was just different. But I know that it was like, hardcore people that have been playing the earlier ones were probably like, this is stupid.
There was compared to the other Metroid games, there was a much more heightened level of immersion and pride than there was in any other Metroid game that had come before it. Like the mechanic where you had to scan various objects to sort of explore the world, and obviously the first person perspective definitely added to the sort of immersive, sort of maybe even claustrophobic feel that that game really excelled at. Like there's no other characters in the game. I don't think there's much dialogue at all, from what I remember. It's this it's very much a Metroid game, but a Metroid game completely unlike anything that had come before it.
Right.
And it had a trilogy, and I remember playing all 3 of those games too. I played the third one for the Wii, and the second one Echoes for the GameCube, and that game got more mixed reviews, but I actually really liked it, and I liked the kind of you had 2 different
Light world, dark world. Kind of
exactly. I like that in games. I like that in Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, and stuff like that. I guess in a sense Final Fantasy VI. Spoiler alert. But
wait, what?
Just how there's a whole nother world. Yeah.
But what happens to Final Fantasy 6?
Ooh, good deep cover. I like that. You'll never know now. So anyway,
everything's all right?
Yeah. But so I really liked the trilogy. I was smitten by it, and like looking back on it, that was like I was glad to be proven wrong. And then I think after the Prime trilogy was out, Metroid went into vapor, and like you just disappeared into the ether.
Yeah,
because I remember, I know that there was like 2 or 3 years ago we were watching a Nintendo E3 announcement, and it looked like it was they were talking about a 3DS game, and one of the big parts of it was you were playing in soccer with Samus. And I was like, why? What has happened to Samus?
Is this what you've been reduced to?
And it's like, and I remember that was like the peak of my life.
Wait, let me ask you this real quick. Was Samus one of the soccer players, or was she the ball?
She was a soccer player who used your blaster to knock the soccer ball in goal. I just remember watching that like announcement and being like, what is going on with Nintendo? And I was pretty much done with them at that point because I was so disappointed with the Wii U. And I hadn't heard anything from them in a long time. I was just like, and you're making like a Samus soccer game? Like, what are you doing?
Spoiler alert, Harrison came back to Nintendo in a big way.
Pretty hard.
He plays it under his desk at work.
Yeah. He's playing it right now.
Show up with my hand.
Yeah. So, but then, like, Nintendo wandered with the franchise. Like, all right, well, let's try this company, Team Ninja, with Other M. And they did Ninja Gaiden, which is popular, and I guess like I kind of had, some reason to be optimistic, and man, I put that game down, I want to say like 2 or 3 hours in. Like it just didn't feel like a Metroid game.
I was saying, is it fair to say that they completely missed the mark on what a Metroid game is supposed to be?
Well, sort of, and from the trailers it looked pretty cool because it took the best of Prime and mixed it with the best of Super Metroid. It would like go through all these different perspectives. Like, I don't know if you remember when you would curl up under the ball in Prime, it would, like, the camera, third person would do stuff like that, and it would switch to side-scroll every once in a while, which is cool. But the game was just bad. Yeah. Like, I mean, there's no other way to put it. And
I never
sorry,
played
Nintendo.
I never played it, but I know that I've, like, watched I've listened to other YouTubers and podcasts and things like that. It is just one of those games that, like, people just don't have a lot of positive things to say. There's probably been a few people that say, like, yeah, I know people hated it, but I still, like, enjoyed it, but they still don't say it's, like, creme de la creme.
Yeah. So I know we're all excited for Metroid Prime 4, but let's try to end on a high note and talk about the most recent Metroid game that came out, which was the 3DS remake of Metroid 2 for the Game Boy, Samus Returns, or Return of Samus, depending on what country you're in. I thought that game was amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It's like, I want to play that. I want to play A Link Between Worlds. I don't have a 3DS. Like, those are like 2 games that I feel like are must plays for me. So
it was just one of those things where I'm
gonna get one day.
I've been like
bring it to Switch.
I like Metroid, but I've never been like a hardcore Metroid fan. But I know when I started playing the 3DS one, I got really into it, and they dumbed things down, which I think is what made me like it, because you have like a map constantly underneath you, so you can constantly see where you've been or where you're going. Because that was the thing, because you were telling me...
Honestly, I wouldn't say they dumbed it down, but I don't want to point at anything, and I definitely agree with you. They streamlined... Again, I wouldn't say they dumbed it down, because you had a map in Super Metroid as well. You just had to go through a few button clicks.
I just remember you telling me that there were certain times where you had to draw out maps for certain areas, and like that's the way that I felt when I played early Metroid games, where I was like, I am so lost. And like, there were maps, but this one was so easily accessible, and it's... Dumbing down is maybe a poor choice of words, but it's like, but they did streamline it. And the only reason I say dumbing it down is because I was like, this is easy. And the only reason I must have been an idiot before.
The only reason I took issue with the dumbing it down thing was because that game was actually really hard.
No, it was. Yeah, it was
really hard.
You needed to keep playing, because if you I stopped playing for about 2-3 weeks. And in that time period of not playing, I came back and was like, oh my god, this is really, really hard.
Exactly.
But then once I started picking it up again, I learned all those mechanics again, and it was super fun.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you step away from it for a day or so, like getting back into it, there's this sort of like adjustment period where you have to relearn the rhythm of the game.
It's fast paced.
Why did I not play this game? It sounds so good.
I like the melee attack.
So
like that was like a huge thing that I thought was cool because it would like slow down time and you just like blast
with the camera angle change.
Yeah,
I loved one of my favorite
cinematic touches.
Was the 360-degree range that you could use.
There were really good touches to that game that just made it more enjoyable for sure. And also, for someone who's new to the series, I think that's a great game to come into. And so now I think like this next game, hopefully Nintendo has to know that they need to do well with it.
I don't know how well that game sold, the 3DS game.
I heard it was doing pretty well like for a little while, but it wasn't doing.
It wasn't the smash.
It wasn't the smash that they were hoping for, but it was topping the charts for like a little while, but it didn't. Like, but
you could have brought them over the threshold.
I know, I messed up. but it kind of like of course, the hopeless fan in me hopes that Bando Namkai's Metroid Prime 4.
Bando Namkai.
I
love that.
Boom.
That's amazing.
Just wanted
copyrighted.
Copyrighted. So I hope that whatever game they're doing emulates that style. I mean, because that would be awesome. Or at least kind of hybrid it, because they're putting on the Switch.
I will say,
it's got to have some. Like, I hope that they.
This is probably a complete fan wink thing.
Okay,
but Bando Namkai did publish Dark Souls.
Namco Bandai.
Guys,
whoever they are. Whoever they are.
Continue.
But they published Dark Souls, which again, as I say, is one of my favorite sort of Metroidvania-ish games, and I don't think that's any way part of why they're on this project.
From Software developed that, and they published it.
Some software, what?
From Software.
But anyway, I think it's okay. So like, Pokken is another.
From Software.
Pokken is another game that is like Bandai Namco is involved with Nintendo.
It's like Pokemon Tekken, right?
Yeah, it's like so. And then I was telling you right before this that the Mario Kart 3D version or the arcade version that they have in Japan, that was done by Bandai
Mario Kart GP, I think.
And Smash Brothers had a huge part in the Wii U version. So like, they're like, these are good things. So hopefully they do make a good game. But like, they can still screw things up. But it's like,
cautiously optimistic.
Exactly.
I'm not super familiar with what in-house Bando Namkai has done. Yeah.
I love
it. Yeah.
So
consider rebranding. It just sounds right.
Love you, Namco. So anyway,
Bando Namkai.
It's like what direction are they going to take it in? Like that's what
right. Is it going to be evocative of like the Prime trilogy? Like that was sort of a. I mean,
what is Prime 4?
Well, it's Prime 4. That was a working title. Apparently.
I mean, like, what are they going to do? Because like Prime really locks in first person with some third person stuff, but. I mean, I feel like they should shoot for the stars.
Well,
just like go for it, because the Dragon Ball Z game, like, did they make that in house or was that like some other?
Oh, that was the new one that just came out.
Yeah,
Fighters.
That was actually, I think the publisher, or they published it. The developer was Arc System Works, I think, who had done a lot of 2D fighter games like Blaze Blue, and they're like masters of sort of the sprite-based art 2D fighting games. As far as I've been told. I didn't play a lot of them. But, so I think Bando Namkai, if you will, has more of a reputation as a publisher now than it does developer. Who knows what we're going to get?
With like fighters, like Dragon Ball Z Fighters, they, like Bando Namkai said that they... They said that they were like, well, we might not bring that to the Switch. We're gonna see how Xenoverse goes, and apparently that went really well. So, and I hear that there's really good backing from Bandai Namco
Who's that?
I know. It's like, but it's like it just sounds like they do have good backing and like they have a good rapport with them. Hopefully, this game comes out and it's good. But you know, we haven't seen shit from it, so you know we'll get there.
Yeah.
Man, Metroid, come back, be like big again, because
Metroid's back, baby.
I mean, like
It's back.
they could really make it explode again, and here's their chance. Better do it right, guys, because we want it to be. We'll buy it if it's good.
Well, the Switch,
Harrison will buy it no matter what.
No matter what. I think the Switch definitely needs a killer app or a killer title in 2018.
It does.
It's already got the AAA Zelda first party game out there. It's got Mario out there in 2017.
That's what I was talking about last year, how they might have blown their load.
I still think Pokemon is coming out
like
this
Namco.
year.
So that's gonna be that's gonna sell like
Yeah,
crazy.
no. If they put that out, because they had a meeting or whatever with all their investors, and they were saying that 2018 or later, and so that makes me think that Nintendo is just pushing Game Freak to be like, hey, we need this out now. If they are trying to push,
doesn't Nintendo own Game Freak?
It's like they just go in there and
Tax
like, hey,
purposes.
hurry up, and they poke. I just like, I think that's I have high hopes that actually is coming out, because if they're saying they're going to sell 20 million Switches this year alone without including like January through March, like they need something that's going to push it like a Pokemon.
Well, I'm sure you've probably heard the rumors that like with the portability of the Switch and the 3DS being one of their big money makers, that these sort of two separate product lines are converging.
Yeah.
Is there going to be another DS? Is there going to be another Game Boy?
I
always think of it as a Game Boy.
And like apparently, I just saw this recently. Nintendo has taken some kind of license out on what looks to be a Switch Mini or something, and I've talked about this before, where it's like it's going to be something that you can use the same cartridges, but you just can't put it in a dock mode. And like that's and they're talking about they also want the Switch to be out for more than like a normal 5-year life cycle. So in my opinion, the way that they're doing like 3DS, 3DS XL, 3DX, 2DS,
they're gonna take that model to their
that's what I see that they're doing.
The Switch is such
Switch.
a hit. They're gonna milk this thing for as long as.
Because I think they
can
can make like a better graphics card and have a better Switch and call it the Switch Pro or Switch XL. Or something like
the
that.
only issue, stumbling block I think you might have there is that there's some games, Xenoblade 2 is one of them, where I know there were a lot of reviewers that said it stuttered a little bit or had some technical hiccups when they were in portable mode compared to dock mode.
So I will defend a little. I don't think it was that bad in undocked mode.
And it really wasn't.
Yeah, like honestly, that was like.
I said some people.
No,
some
I know.
people.
I know.
But
I
played
played
it
out there
enough
that
to
just
realize.
have these expectations that are kind of crazy. And it's like, because I've heard other people say like, oh, well, Zelda doesn't look that great on the handheld mode. I'm like, it looks amazing in handheld.
Meanwhile, I'm like, you can play Doom on the Switch? Holy shit.
To the critics' point, Mario and Zelda did look a little bit better than Xenoblade.
But I still thought Xenoblade was amazing.
Yeah.
Because there were points in that game when I would I'd be playing a handheld and show it to my girlfriend and be like, this looks amazing. She's like, holy God. Like, yeah, that looks fucking phenomenal. Holy fuck, that looks God. Anyway, she appreciated it and I appreciated it too. I thought it looked really, really good.
Yeah.
And I think the majority of the games, I know that there are some exceptions, and I don't know what they are because I don't own them, but I know that some games just don't look that good. Like I heard Rhyme looks terrible. Like I heard it looks super pixelated, and I was super excited for that game. I waited to get it for the Switch, and then I heard all these reviews, and I was like, never mind. And now I just got on PS4 for free. So
thanks, Rhyme.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I heard Rhyme had issues on other consoles as well, so it wasn't just like the Switch. But
so it sounds like first-party games, they know their way around the hardware and the development kit. They can make it look really pretty, but maybe some of these third-party game ports don't do as well.
Right. I think Panic Button is the one that did Doom, and they did Rocket League, and people are freaking out about those games.
Really?
So what's next after Pokemon?
Animal Crossing, Pikmin.
Yeah,
I know that those are.
I'm talking about
really
Zelda, Mario, Caliber.
Right, I don't know.
Pokemon counts.
We need to see. We need to see what's going to happen at E3 because like Labo came out of nowhere, and like people are like just now got a hands-on. They're like, this is a lot cooler than we thought it was going to be, because there's actually programming and development that you can do as your own person.
It reminds me a lot of, I don't know if you are familiar with this, but like Arduino. You heard of Arduino? It's like it's sort of like a Raspberry Pi type situation where it's like a basic circuit board, and then you can give it like little snippets of programming language to do these sort of things. It just reminds me a lot of that sort of STEM type education. It's really interesting. Like, you don't see video game manufacturers do this sort of thing a lot, so that anyone is doing this at all is pretty remarkable. And if they make it, financially successful, that's amazing on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I like E3, hopefully they reveal some stuff, because like, at the moment, I'm like, after Metroid and Pokemon, like, what do they have? I think that they'll still make stuff, but like I never played Pikmin and I never played Animal Crossing, but I know a lot of people are like super excited for those games to come out, but like, I don't care at the moment. Like, I know a lot of people do, but it's just those aren't games that I'm familiar with at all.
Yeah.
But it is like, how do you, like, when you put out such a ridiculous first year with Zelda and Mario, like, you gotta keep bringing it.
I think Pokemon has always been one of those things where they've been very careful about when they release it, what they release, and how, because it's one of their sacred cows. But I like that, unlike many of their past console cycles, they've given you Mario and Zelda right away. You don't have to wait for those first party titles. They're not the carrot dangling in front of you down the road. And it makes me think that they're going to have they came out really strong right out of the gate. And they're gonna have some of the lesser knowns, maybe your Pikmin, your Animal Crossing, probably Metroid Prime 4.
Mother.
Which, don't tease me. Which, not a lot of people, or not as many people care about, admittedly. I'm kind of in your boat, where Pikmin's cool, Animal Crossing's alright, but it's not really must play for me. And I think what it's all gonna build up to is probably a Smash Brothers title in the third-ish year of the Switch's lifespan.
Smash should be late 2019, hopefully.
Maybe early 2020.
Yeah, or if they could hit that holiday 2019. Yeah. Plus, when did Smash U came out? Like 2014, I want to say. So
it was later.
And then Brawl was like 07.
They have long periods.
They do. Like, it's like usually like 6 or 7 years. So probably 2020. But yeah, they gotta nail that. And now they don't have to make 2 different versions of it either, because they did the 3DS and the
because that was like Bandai and Namco. Now we're back on topic.
Yeah.
All comes full circle.
Yeah, I'm excited for Metroid. We'll see what happens. We'll see what Nintendo does in the future. Like, I honestly, I think that they're supposed to be doing another Nintendo Direct this month, but they haven't said anything about it. We'll see what happens. But other than that, like, E3...
This E3 should be amazing.
This E3 should be amazing.
It should be, honestly, like, the best one in a long time.
Yeah.
Since 2015. So...
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Alright, so Metroid... Come on, let's do it.
Come on now, come down the night.
Yeah, let's do it, y'all. Come on, develop like crazy. Alright, see you guys. Bye.